Okay, let's go over a few more examples to practice these trig word problems. Number 2 says that Ray and Darren received new kites in their Easter baskets. Darren's kite is flying at the end of a 200-foot string. So I'm going to draw Darren. And we've got him holding this string, going up to the kite, and we know that that is 200 feet. Okay? Next it says, Darren is holding the string chest high at 4 feet and flies at a 68-degree angle. So what that's saying is that the distance from Darren's chest, where he's holding the string, to the ground, where his feet are, that is 4 feet. And then our angle, that's talking about the angle from where his hand is, so the level where his hand is up to the kite, that angle is 68 degrees. Okay, so then our question is, how high above the ground is Darren's kite? So I'm first going to finish off our triangle here that we made. So if we're trying to find the height, we really want to find the distance from where the kite is all the way to the ground. So this is going to take kind of 2 main steps. First, we're going to need to figure out what is x. So what is across from that angle, that opposite side of the triangle. Then we need to account for that 4 feet. So really it's going to end up being x plus 4. So first let's focus on just solving for x. We have our angle, 68 degrees. Across from that angle, x is going to be our opposite side. And 200 feet, that is across from our right angle. So that would be our hypotenuse. So since we're working with opposite and hypotenuse, I'm going to use the sine function. So I can say sine of 68 equals my opposite over my hypotenuse, which is x over 200. Then I can multiply both sides by 200 to solve for x. And I get x equals 185.44. So that's going to represent this part of our triangle. Okay, but then we need to remember that we do have this extra 4 feet to get to the ground. So I'm going to add 4 to my x. So our kite is 189.44 feet above the ground. Okay, in the next couple examples, I'm going to help you set up the pictures for some of the problems you'll be doing on the homework, and then I'm going to have you finish solving them as your homework. So number 4, an oak tree casts a 60-foot shadow when the angle of elevation of the sun measures 58 degrees. How tall is the tree? So we're going to have our tree. We know that our shadow is 60 feet. And then the angle of elevation, so from the ground up to the tree, measures 58 degrees. Okay, our question is, how tall is the tree? So that would be this side of our triangle. So you're trying to find x for this problem. Start with your angle, 58 degrees. Figure out what you're working with, opposite, hypotenuse, or adjacent, and set up an equation, and then solve for x. All right, number 9, Michelle and Kelly are standing on the top of a 150-foot cliff above a harbor. From the cliff, the angle of depression to a boat in the harbor is 8 degrees. If the girls dive off the cliff and swim to the boat, how far will they have to swim to reach the boat? Okay, so we start off with knowing that they are at the top of a 150-foot cliff. Okay? Then we can see that there is an angle of depression, so that's from our eyesight going down to the boat. So let's say our boat is right here. So the angle of depression is 8 degrees. Okay? Then we want to know if the girls dive off the cliff and swim to the boat, how far? So we're saying, what's the distance from the cliff to the boat? Okay. One extra hint that I'm going to give you here is that we would really have parallel lines cut by a transversal. So that would make this angle also 8 degrees, because that is alternate interior angles. All right, let's take a look at number 10. A plane takes off and climbs at a constant angle with the ground. If the plane has traveled 720 feet ground distance and has risen to an altitude of 453.11 feet, what is the constant angle the plane is climbing at? Okay, so we've got our plane takes off from the ground into the sky. We know that the plane has traveled 720 feet ground distance. So I'm going to say that this is the ground. And I know that that would be 720 feet. Okay. And then it's risen to an altitude. So that's talking about the height off the ground. That altitude is 453.11 feet. And the question is, what is the constant angle the plane is climbing at? So this time we're trying to figure out what is that angle. Okay, so I'm going to help you through this one because this one's a little bit different since we're trying to find an angle. So first I'm going to label my sides. If this is the angle that I'm trying to find, we would have 453.11 feet, that would be our opposite side, and 720 feet would be our adjacent side. Okay, so if we're working with opposite and adjacent, we would want to use tangent. I'm going to call my angle x, so I can say tangent of x equals 453.11 over 720. Okay, so you have solved these equations before. We haven't done it yet today, but we have done it in previous days. So remember that when you're trying to solve for the angle, we have to take the tangent inverse. So x, angle x, equals the tangent inverse of this fraction. All right, so if you go ahead and type that in your calculator, remember to use the second key, and then you can round to the nearest degree since it's an angle, and you should get 32 degrees. All right, we've got one more problem to go over, number 13. Given a right triangle ABC, if C is the right angle, B equals 48, A equals 102.94. What is B? So notice that we have some lowercase and capital letters. You should probably have heard this before, but just a refresher in case you haven't. Our angles are the capital letters. And then our sides are the lowercase letters. Okay, So if we draw our triangle, we know that C is the right angle. So we've got C, A, and B. Okay, and then the side A should be across from angle A. The side C should be across from angle C, and the side B should be across from angle B. So let's take a look at what we are given. We know that the side B equals 48. We know that the side A equals 102.94. And we know that C is our right angle, so that means that one's 90 degrees. We've got that taken care of. So we're trying to find out angle B. All right, so I'm going to let you take it from there. I've helped you set that one up. Make sure that you copy all of these over when you're doing your homework so you don't have to redo them. And let me know if you have any questions.